could not be fresher. So Melvin, how long have you been doing this?
24 years.
This is the way they used to always be done.
So do you gentlemen all do it this way, or do some of you do the platform as well? You know, this industry is not just growing and picking, it's storing and packing, and we're going to explore all of that today.
And they're stacked in groups of 3 according to their size, and they're then ready to go through the commit to pack line. So this is where I grew up with my 7 brothers and sisters in the house there.
Welcome to beautiful, windswept Port Burwell. Now, I'm here at the beach, but I'm not here for the seagulls. I'm not even here for a dip in the lake. I'm actually here today for apples. We know apples. We know they grow in trees, not sand. But do we know what it takes to get them from that tree to our belly? This delicious fruit that has lined all of our stomachs at one time or another. So today we're going to meet an old friend, Steve. We're going to visit an orchard. We're going to meet some people, and we're going to learn about how apples make it to our table. So come join me. That's going to have some fun. Okay, so we're checking out some platform picking. So we can see this is already picked buckets in front of us. So you'll tell us a little bit about how this works. How has platform picking improved the industry?
A lot less bruising.
A lot less bruising. Okay.
I find it's a lot less physical on a person too.
Okay.
Picking wise, I think it's a lot better quality.
Okay.
They pick about, one man picks about an average 3/4 bin to a bin a day, or an hour, I should say, not a day.
Don't lower the workload. And that used to take how long? So an hour work used to be what? 2 hours work?
Somewhere
3 hours work?
in that range. It depends what they were picking.
2 to 2.5 hours.
somewhere.
So it's definitely cutting it, I would say, in half or more.
I think so.
So not only is it cutting in half, it's allowing better quality apples, and it's probably less strain for the workers.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, because we'll see it later. They
actually have a picking basket hanging off their shoulders.
Yeah.
That's where they pick into.
Wow. Okay. So this is technological advances really improved not only your ability to yield and the quality of grade 1 apples, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's made it life easier for the gentleman, which we're going to observe in a second.
A lot less ladder work.
Yeah.
Like before, you also had the ladder work where you had to climb up. Now those guys just pick that right off the top.
If they want to go higher, these machines do go higher and lower, in and out.
Okay, so they go higher and lower, in and out. Oh, that's fantastic. And when did this really come to the market? How long have these been around?
We've been using them now for how long?
3 years, I think.
3 years? Okay, so relatively. I mean, there's been forms of this probably for a decade or more, but there's different kinds, and it took us. These things aren't cheap, and so we were cautious. We wanted to make sure we got the one that worked best for our system of growing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, and so we experimented with different ones, tried different ones, but it was only about 3 years ago where we determined that yes, this is the model that works best for us, and seems to be working well. We keep periodically adding a few of these machines. I don't know whether we added any this year.
This year we ordered 3 more for next year.
Yeah,
3 more for next year. So do you envisage a day, I'll just stand a little closer so you can get caught on the mic here. Do you envisage a day where it'll be all this and there'll be no manual work?
Oh no, you always need manual. No matter.
There'll always be manual, but there may be a time when 95% of our picking will be done this way.
Because it defeats it on blocks wise. When these machines go in, you always have a half a row here.
Okay.
So you will always need a crew to clean
to
up.
get in and clean up. Yeah. Okay, good stuff. Well, they're straight at it. That's fantastic. Let's watch them go. Could not be fresher. They're literally falling down. We won't eat those ones. I'm sure Steve won't mind. But my goodness, this is good stuff. Oh, can't come to an apple orchard. Not take a crunch. Oh, here comes Steve. Oh, look, he's eating one too. We're just fine. Right, Steve, so I see this machine, you know, spinning, moving, got lots of moving parts. What's it actually doing?
So there's guys at the front there that you can't see real well here, as well as these guys on the top. They're picking into conveyors.
Yeah.
The apples are feeding into the center where they're feeding into a conveyor that's bringing them down to the bin level. The reason the bin's rotating is so that it's constantly, as it's gradually filling as it's going around.
Oh.
And their apples are coming to the top there, gradually filling to the top.
So rather than just being dropped on top of each other, they're being
That's
nicely
right.
spaced
They're
out.
literally coming in there where they're not dropping at all. They're just feeding right into the top.
And are they being buffed there? They look like they're being buffed. Almost.
Well, a little bit, but that's mainly just to protect them.
Okay.
That's for protection there, so that they don't get bumped. And then once they reach the top, which is going to happen in another minute or so, and then that bin will slide to the back and be brought down to the ground, and another bin's going to come in from the front onto that platform to replace it.
Okay, I look forward to seeing that. Thank you. Let's wait for it to be filled very soon. They're making great progress. They've only been here a few minutes. So the bucket's full, Steve, and we're bringing it down?
Yeah, it's gonna be brought down in just a minute. The empty bin is filled into its place in behind.
Okay. Here it comes. Oh, we lost one overboard. Empty bin goes up. And they just carry on. The bin keeps on spinning, they keep on picking. And as they move forward, this flattens out on the ground.
Yeah, it'll.
And the process continues.
In just a minute, when they're ready to move forward, it'll drop down.
Awesome. European design, Steve tells me. Look at this.
There we go.
It's like part forklift, part tank, part.
And then over here, now the bin hauler is, if you get a shot in there. You can reach in, and you might.
The bin hauler. So now he's
picking up the bins.
Picking up the full bins?
So he's going to back up until he has 5 bins on there.
Oh, okay. So he backs up, he grabs 5 bins.
Yeah, and then he'll bring them out this way.
And bring them out this way.
We'll be able to see it once.
I'll tell you what, you're going to be able to reverse in a straight line if you're going to be bringing these things out.
Yeah.
I don't think I would do too well. Reversing's not my forte.
And all of this, whether it's running this machine, whether it's even just the picking the old-fashioned way, whether it's running this equipment, it all takes skill.
Of course.
It's why it kind of bugs me when people refer to people that do this type of work as unskilled labor.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute here, because obviously migrant workers are key to this kind of work, right?
Very
for a
much
variety
so.
of reasons.
Yes, yeah.
But you're bringing them in for seasons, and your workers are coming back, generally speaking, year after year.
Yes,
so they're developing expertise that you can't just replace by bringing in Joe Schmo or summer student or whatever.
Obviously, every year we're training some new ones again, because there's always some turnover. But yes, many of them have been coming for years and years, and yes, they have become very skilled at what they do. if I tried to do what you're, backing up like that, it would take me all day. But they become very good at it. They become experts in everything they do. Like, it would take me days to learn how to run that equipment properly, the picking equipment.
And we're
stuff.
seeing a crew here, right? So typically, how many crews do you have going at one time? Because we've got hundreds of acres spread across several orchards. In total, I think you said you have 1,100 acres across the area.
Yeah.
So how many crews you got going at one time, and how many people are in a crew?
So all together, if you count all our 1,100 acres, we probably have well over 20 crews.
Okay.
But right in this particular area where we have 750 acres, I believe we have, I believe it's like 8 hand-picking crews plus another 6 platforms.
And how many men are in a crew?
There are 12 men in a crew. So 10 pickers, a tractor driver, and an overseer, foreman, or leader.
So every crew has like a platoon leader, a foreman,
That's
whatever
correct.
you want to call them.
Yeah.
And they just work these fields and in and out. And I guess your leaders are your more experienced guys.
Yes, yeah, they tend to be, most of them tend to, and our tractor drivers too, they tend to be people that have been here for many years and they keep coming back. They're definitely almost always, they're the 8-month, the long-term guys.
Yeah. We can see this guy coming out with his buckets. And so where are they coming in from? For people who don't know, where are these workers
So
from?
most of our guys come from Trinidad and Tobago or from Jamaica.
Ah, nice.
Just about all of them are from those two.
So here we are.
And
6
six
bins full
bins.
of
Some are
apples.
5, some are 6, but this is 6.
So where's he taking these?
They're being taken to a yard, a collection yard, where they're going to get stacked.
It looks like he knows what he's doing.
Well, I'm parked in his way.
That's why you were looking a little anxious there. You're making his life a little harder. If any of those apples spilled, you'd have to pick them up.
Every one of our blocks of orchards has a collection area, which that's where they are stacked, and then sometime later today, a truck will come, pick those up, and take them to storage.
So we'll check that out. But to finish on the migrant worker piece, I know we got distracted by the guy doing his job. Trinidadians, Jamaicans, this program was introduced to bring offshore workers, seasonal workers. How many years ago was it? 30 years ago?
So it's been running for, I think, over 50 years now in the form that it presently is.
Yeah.
We ourselves have been part of it since 1997.
Yeah.
And it's especially crucial for operations like ours that are in fairly remote parts of Ontario here, down by the lake, where we're literally 20 to 30 miles away from any sizable town.
So finding hundreds of workers that can work for 2 to 8 months at a time.
For a very seasonal time. The vast majority of them we only need for about 2 months in the harvest time. And so finding good, qualified people that are skilled at their job, know what they're doing, and are reliable, because obviously harvest, it's like every day counts. And so we are just very, very grateful for these men who year after year provide this
barrack
kind of
here, right? So obviously they're living here.
Yeah, they live here.
So you provide accommodation?
We provide accommodations for them, which every year, and we have to go through the application process to get these guys every year.
Okay.
So we literally have to prove year over year that we still need them, that we still, and there's a process.
So it's like a reassessment.
Yeah.
To make sure that
every year it's reassessed. Every year their lodging, their housing is reassessed to make sure that it meets rate. And it's only after that process has happened that we can even put in the formal application for the guys.
Okay. To see that you qualify to apply.
And then, because we're part of the program, obviously we name the guys that we want to come back from the previous year, which are, by far the majority of them. But then if we don't have enough of those that accept our invitation to come back, then of course we get some new ones as well.
So we're in a rural part of Ontario. you can't grow millions of apples if you aren't. How do these guys get into town? Well, they want to go into town on their day off. They want to go and get some groceries. How do they get about? I'm sure they're not coming here with cars.
So traditionally in the offshore industry, Friday afternoon and evening is shopping night.
Oh, okay.
And so we have buses and ways of taking them to town and so on. But we also have guys available on a regular basis. Some of these guys have license, and we have numerous vehicles that, you know, if somebody needs to make a trip to the doctor or an emergency trip into town or whatever, or evening trips or whatever, they have access to vehicles where they can do that as well.
Okay, so I'm here with Melvin.
Yeah.
So Melvin, how long have you been doing this?
24 years.
So 2001. And did you start with apples, or what did you start with? Did you start on this farm, or?
No, I started on 2 years tobacco, and after 2 years, I start on this farm. From that, I never leave yet. I never leave.
So you've been coming here for 22 years.
Yeah.
And how long are you here for? Are you here for the whole season, 2 months?
No,
or?
well, we start short term first, and then after we expand and the boss see how we're working and things, then he tell you, I'll give you long term after. We have to work first, short term, and then after.
Yeah.
How you perform and thing,
Yeah.
he give you a long term.
So how long did it take you to get long term?
Well, it take about maybe 3-4 years before, you know,
Oh,
before you get there.
And now you're automatic. Every year?
No, every year.
You just come back?
He just come and ask you, well, you interested again? As long as you have health and strength.
Oh, wow.
Tell them see you next year again.
We don't make them put in a resume every year.
I would hope not after 22 years. Melvin's earned his spot. So you come here for 22 years. You're here for 8 months, I guess. 6?
Yeah, 8 months. 8 months, yeah.
How do you like Canada?
Yeah, it's nice, okay, the work, everything. You have to know how to work and adjust yourself. Do what you are told to and follow the rules and regulation of the work.
Yeah.
Be on time.
Yeah.
Make sure you do the man what the man give you to do.
Yeah.
To make it the work, you know.
Yeah.
Go back on time and make sure reach on time for work.
We were obviously doing a good job, or you wouldn't have been here for 2 decades.
Yeah.
Is it nice having some guys from home, some guys from the island here as well? Are you a tight crew? Like, have you guys all worked together a long time, or?
Yes, we work together. All know each other good, understand each other. We work together as a team.
Yeah.
Because 6 of us here.
Yeah.
So we work together as a team. This is 6 of us here. Same thing on the motion.
And the seventh partner of their team just pulled in here now.
I was going to say, so I haven't seen anybody doing this manual yet. I'm going to see that. But how much do you like that they brought these things in?
Yeah, it's more easier some way.
Yeah.
Right? Could work both ways.
Yeah.
So when they come up in summertime, March time, we prune the head and cut the head.
Yeah.
And the machine cutting everything on top.
Nice.
Yeah, we
Right?
use
And
those
then
for pruning
Then
too.
the guys come to the bottom and cut the bottom with the pruner.
Yeah.
So we just using and cutting the top. That is in March.
Yeah.
So
So
the apple, 4 men on top, 2 men to the ground.
nice. So is it basically? It looks like you can get stuff done quicker, more efficiently. But is it easy?
The guys on them more faster than
Yeah.
the guys on the ladder more faster than the men.
Yeah.
The men on the machine then.
And is it easier on the body now that you're not having to do it all manual with hands?
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes carrying this strap and thing, you know, whole day carrying that, so that's easy right here.
I was about to say, after 22 years, you could do with some help here.
Well, he picks certain men to come and say, all right, you're tired, with strap,
Yeah.
bucket. So I say, I'll try it on the machine. So far, so good.
He was going to retire, but then we got the machine.
Yeah. Then Melvin was threatening to retire. And you're like, okay, we'll do something here for you, buddy. Don't worry, we'll get some machinery to help you. No, it's about time. This is the 21st century. So good. So, I think it's phenomenal work. I've just seen 6 bins get pulled off and they're already filling 3 of the bins. It's happening fast. You guys can cover a lot of ground. And it's good that it doesn't take all your muscle to do it. But it was great chatting to you all. We wanted to see the people involved in making sure this stuff gets done. So we enjoyed watching you do your job. So thanks for talking to us, Melvin.
Yeah, man. Okay, man. Very much. Glad to meet you. Yeah.
All the best, man.
Yeah, brother. Respect.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers, gents.
Okay.
So Steve, Melvin, what a great guy to talk to. I imagine he is a prime example of why this program works. 22 years at this farm, enjoys the work, comes back every year.
Yes, and it is people like him, men like him, that we are so dependent on, and to put out, to harvest a crop every year, or even to produce a crop, because obviously the work starts long before harvest. We are very, very indebted to the program, and I think the beautiful thing about the program is that when they are here, they are, for all intents and purposes, landed immigrants.
Yeah.
They have all the same rights and responsibilities and so on that a Canadian citizen has. They pay their taxes, source deductions, all of the things that anyone else does, and really I don't think people are appreciate enough how our whole food industry is so dependent on people like themselves that pick our food. A lot of people have the idea that this is all mechanized, and we show a little bit of mechanized, but ultimately it still takes
they're still
their hand
picking things off a tree, and we're going to see some people do this the manual way, as well.
Totally,
it's not all platform and new tech.
That's right.
And I think, just to jump in there on Melvin as an example, is like, you think about it. You have to commit 8 months of your time if you're going to be and I know a lot of people are here for just a couple of months, but you think to yourself, okay, why can't students do that? Well, you're harvesting at university time, right? Why can't people commit 8 months? Because somebody who can work for 8 months can work for 12 months, right? But with this program, you get people who can work here for a long period of time. They're reliable, they're dependable. Melvin was very quick to talk about hard work, right? Like he was like, turns up, shows up, does his job. And obviously, like you said, there's no need to re-interview guys like that. You just want more of them.
Yeah.
So I think that was and it's really interesting to see this little community within this community. This is a very rural community, right? Like, I've seen maybe 4 people in what you would call the town centre or downtown, and Port Burwell, just walking around. It's a rural place, and among it, you've got these hundreds of migrant workers living here for large periods and really powering this economy.
They very much become a part of the community and the economy here. One thing I just wanted to clarify, and yes, it's true, the vast majority do only come for 2 to 3 months. There's some, like about a quarter of them, that come for the 8 months.
Yeah.
But even that quarter, we would not have work for them for 12 months, okay? No. So even if they, there would still be 4 months where if they were here, they would technically be on unemployment.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's a system that has worked very well for quite a few years, and we are very grateful to it and for it, and yeah, we've been very blessed with a lot of really good guys that come back year after year. Great. And they become part of the family. And this is in its third leaf. So or second leaf. I'm sorry. This is second leaf. So these are not in production yet. Yeah. Next year they will get the very first fruit. Oh.
And by what year are they in full bloom?
So by about the 4th year, they're in full production.
And what's the life cycle on an apple tree?
About 25 years is what these will last. So we'll,
here we are, Honeycrisp.
Yeah, and so like these, this year we would have knocked everything off yet. They would have had some apples if we would have let them produce. But in the first years, all we're interested in is getting growth there. We want those trees to get to the top of that wire as quickly as possible, because once they get to the top, that's when they will be in full production.
And you were saying off camera earlier, there's kind of like, there's checks and balances to make sure things are coming along the way they're supposed to, right? Like, how do you health check trees when they're, in their first and second leaf and getting towards maturity? Is it just how they're growing? Are you testing what's falling? Are you making sure the irrigation's the way it should be?
Yeah, all of the above. And of course, weather has so much to do with it. Like, you can do everything right, but if you get a dry season or like a dry year where, I mean, obviously irrigation helps that some, but it still is not as good as just regular rains. Or, you know...
and if you get a dry year, are they done? Are they toast?
Oh, no. Well, in the first year or two, if it'd be too dry and you didn't have irrigation, they would be toast. The first few years are the most crucial. But every orchard management involves, because apples, by their very nature, kind of produce heavy one year and then light the next year.
Okay.
But by if you have good management, you're trying to negate that. And the reason for that is because apple buds produce in the beginning of June for the following year. Okay. So what you really want to be careful, those first few weeks in June, you want to be very careful that you're not stressing out, that the trees aren't stressed out. Because if they've got too heavy a crop, that's going to cause some stress.
They need to take a year off.
If it's too dry. Yeah, but we don't like that, okay?
So you're looking for just a steady
we're
consistency.
Looking for a steady, consistent crop year over year, okay?
So you're telling me if you get a jackpot year, you're like, oh no.
Well, no, we like, you know, but there's a limit, okay? Yeah. If it's too heavy, we're gonna feel it the next year. So that's how we kind of manage, and we do
don't
that
want
through
feast, because after the feast comes the famine.
We do that through thinning properly and just, you know, trying to get the most out of the tree year in and year out without overexerting it.
Okay, Steve. So we've seen the people on the platforms. Picking from the platforms. We're now going to see how it's done the old-fashioned way, right?
Yes, yeah. So this is still the way, probably at this point we still would say more picked this way than the other way, but this is the way they used to always be done, and so this is still where they use picking buckets, and they're picking into bins, filling their buckets and putting them into the bins.
Okay, a bit of music playing. They got the ladders, they got the sacks. Let's go and chat to some of the guys.
Sure, yeah.
Let's see how it's going. Okay, my buddy Shane here has done me the honors. Steve's going to hold the camera. I'm not just going to stand here and watch these gentlemen work. I'm going to join him for a couple of minutes. Right, boys, I want to fill one bucket. Can I join you?
Yeah, no problem.
All right, I can't just stand here and watch. So is there a trick to this? You just get them straight off.
Are you cleaning it right now, taking everything, or are you
just the red
ones? Yeah. So just pick the
red ones. The good? Okay.
The reddest ones.
Okay, the reddest ones.
Yeah.
All right, I don't want to mess you guys up.
Just turn your fingers and you pick it.
All right, show me the way. Okay, yeah. Let's see a couple more. So
so you just kind of flip it upwards.
Okay, so
upwards,
When
like
you stem,
this?
you put them easy in the basket.
And then that way you don't damage them?
Put it down easy.
Okay.
One hand, put it.
And you don't knock others off.
Oh, okay. I've already knocked several off, so that's good.
Yeah, one at a time.
One at a time. Thank you, gentlemen.
Once you work for a while, one at a time isn't good enough, but when you're learning, one at a time,
One
right?
at a time, okay. So do you gentlemen all do it this way, or do some of you do the platform as well?
Both. We do both.
So do they use the younger, stronger guys to do it this way? Is that what it is? Should I tell Melvin that? All right. I've got no method, as you can see. I'm just moving.
You're doing fine.
I'm moving from point to point. Well, this is it. I'm a picker now. All right, here we go. The guys have shown me the method. They're much, much quicker than me and much, much better than this at me, as I'm sure Steve would attest.
Yeah, we're not paying you top dollar here for a bit yet.
Who gets to pick the music? Who gets to pick the music? Is he the top man? He gets to pick the music? Is it Jamaican music or Trini music or Jamaican? Okay. And how long will it take to fill one of these things?
A bucket like that? Oh, if you're good, it should only take about a minute.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So me, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, we're doing okay here. Am I doing okay?
So far.
So far? I'm a little slow, I know. You can say it. We're filling this bin. Steve says it should take a minute. Oh yeah, we're getting there, Steve.
No, you get.
Who's been here the longest? You guys? Yeah?
Good, good. The guy goes good.
How many years? 25? That's more than Melvin. Wow, 25.
Yeah, Kurt has been here a long time.
Wow, man.
That's a name I remember. when I used to do the payroll. Yeah.
Wow, 25 years, good for him. I don't think I'm going to make it that long. I'm not very good. Steve doesn't want me back. Right, boys, we're almost there. So they said I should really be doing 2 at a time, but
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. All right, here we go, Steve. Look at this.
Okay, you ready? Okay, so now take it.
Yeah.
Actually, watch him first. So
Okay,
you can
let's
learn
watch a
from him.
professional here. All right, so, okay.
So you put it in there.
And then release it through the bottom.
There
I
you
was
go.
I was about to just tip them.
No. Yeah, that
And then
you
over?
definitely would have lost. So go far end here. Put it at the far end like that. And now just go back slowly.
okay.
There you
And then
go.
they don't get bruised.
There you go.
Okay, I
You
swallowed
are
a
now
bug
a
there.
professional.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. I'm sorry I was so bad at this.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so we're here at one of the, what was it, 13 storage rooms Jake was telling us? Okay, 13 storage rooms. So what are we looking at, Steve?
So yes, thanks Jake for allowing us to come in here for a minute. This is Jake's domain. He really does take care of this place, and it is a very important part of what we do here. So obviously, apples are all picked within about a 2-month period from the Labor Day weekend until the end of October. But we market the apples all year round. So in the meantime, they need a place to be stored at, okay? If we're going to be marketing them right away, they would just go into a cold storage room, which is really no different than your fridge at home, okay? Really, it'd be exactly like this without the sealed off room. So
Yeah, because people will ask, how can you harvest in the fall and we're eating apples in February?
yes, exactly. So this particular room, like I say, if we knew we were marketing them right away, we'd just leave them in a cold storage like this, which is just above zero. But if we know that we're going to be marketing them later than, say, about the beginning of November, we'll start putting them into rooms like this that we fill up totally, then we seal off. These doors come shut, they get sealed off totally, and then we take the oxygen level. We replace the oxygen with nitrogen. So we basically take the oxygen level down to about 2 to 4%. Is that right, Jake? Depending on the variety, right? It's different varieties are slightly different, but we'll take it right down to 2 to 4%. And once they're down to that, we just let the apples sleep more or less.
So,
okay, they're left to their own until we're ready to market those apples. Then we'll break the seal, open the room, and start moving them up to our Waterloo location to actually pack them.
So for people like me who don't know about apples, other than that they taste delicious, you're putting them in these rooms, you're sucking out the oxygen so that they don't, for all intents and purposes, rot.
Right. Oxygen is what ripens the fruit.
Exactly.
Correct.
So they don't want them ripening any further. They sit in storage till they're ready to go out, and then you ship them out and they get onto our table. So
That's right.
there's 13 of these rooms. How many apples are in each room?
So about 1,300 bins, is that correct?
1,300
Jake?
bins, Jake?
So in each bin is about 20 bushel. So
20
if you
bushels.
think of 20 times, so each bin is maybe approximately 2,000 apples on average, maybe something
wow.
like that. Yeah, so,
And we can see
so
some over here.
2,000 times 1,300, whatever that is.
So this room is being made ready to...
That's right. So
To
this
seal
room
off.
will still need another probably, you could tell me exactly, but probably about 400, 500 bins.
Oh, wow.
600 bins, and then once it's totally filled, so it will get sealed off, which will probably be in the next day or two or a few days, right?
Yep, probably.
And then who knows? I don't know what variety this is.
I was going to say, is it one apple family, Jake, or is it many apple families?
Many varieties.
So
Okay.
these are
This one are Red Delicious. and
these
Gold.
are Red Delicious.
Red Delicious.
Very traditional variety.
Here as well.
Gold. Yeah, these are Gala.
Oh, that's all. Fantastic. The Royal Gala.
Yeah, definitely
Gala, as we say in
our
Britain.
top variety as far as total sales is concerned right now. Gala we'd sell more than any other
Wow.
variety. So
here we have it, folks.
Yes.
This room will be sealed, the oxygen will be taken out, and these things will be ready for you as fresh as the day they were picked, we'll say, right?
that
We
is
should
kind
be
of
saying
the
that.
idea. Yes,
All right,
we
awesome.
tried, and yeah, it is surprising. Like once the room is sealed off, if the apples, I mean, they won't get better than they were when they go in. Okay,
Hey, but they'll be just as
But
good
if they're in optimum shape going in, they really don't change very much when they open the room, and then usually it looks like a lot of apples, 1,300 apple bins, but we're going through, well, we'll see later today that we go through a lot of bins a day. Jake knows this because
So what you're saying is, when my kids won't eat the apples, and I end up having to either eat them or throw them away, I really just need a room with no oxygen. And I can keep bringing these apples out to my kids for weeks on end.
that's all you need.
Okay,
yeah. If you trade your fridge in for a CA storage, and
you're
keep
good to
apples
go. Keep all my veg. It's like prepper life. I like it. Okay, thank you for that. Cheers, gentlemen. So here we have it, folks. Millions of apples. Millions. Hundreds of thousands in that one room alone that we visited. Preserved for as long as it takes to get them shipped out for the people that want them. We've got these old traditional Martin's family fruit farm packing boxes. We've got the plastic boxes in the room. And this really gives you a sense that, this industry is not just growing and picking, it's storing and packing, and we're going to explore all of that today. And it's a family business. It's a long-standing family business, but it's an industry to get all this stuff to your doorstep, to our bellies. And we'll carry on. Let's learn some more. But this is fascinating stuff. Really is. Onward. So Steve, this is where everything ends up.
Yes, this is where it comes eventually after we've passed through the picking stage, the storage stage, and then eventually gets here.
I see the Martin's crates on proud display behind us.
They're being getting ready to be filled, possibly yet this evening. So in here we have two different pack lines. Okay, we have what's called the pre-sort line, and we have the commit to pack line. The pre-sort line is what you see over here to my left. And it's not running right at the moment simply because this is the end of the shift.
Day shift turning to night shift?
Day shift turning into night shift.
Okay.
But this is, the pre-sort line is this whole area that I'm pointing out to my left here, where the bins get put through water, come down this weight sizer, where they have an electronic defect sorter that they go through, and even sorts for internal defects, any other defects, and then based on what is found there and their size, since each apple is weighed, they get told and are dropped off into one of these water flumes where they're fed through. A full water flume there represents one bin of apples. They're fed down to the end where they're fed into a bin that's under the water. The bin is filled, and they're stacked in groups of 3 according to their size, and they're then ready to go through the commit to pack line either later on that day or possibly the day following.
So, it's great stuff, and we were fortunate enough to see this all in motion a few minutes ago, and we'll get some B-roll of that when the night shift comes on. So the apples come in, we've been to the orchard, we've picked them. Even here they're sorted. They come through this machine in front of us here with the white and green. We'll take multiple photographs of these apples to make sure that they're not spoiled, to make sure they're the correct grade, whether they're prime grade ones or the other.
Or whether they'll go for processing.
Exactly, they'll be weighted, they'll be separated, they'll be put into the swim lanes, we'll call them, based on what grade they are and what size. And then they'll be placed in the appropriate box and then packed on the other side of the...
Well, then the number ones will get put into this commit to pack line, go through the same process again, and the apples that you see just below us would already be started through that process,
and then
where they've already been
tossed,
washed and dried, and they're being fed through here onto another weight sizer that we will see over here. And this weight sizer will possibly label them if in fact the customer wants a label. And then they either go one of two ways. Either they get fed onto the purple trays that you see below here, where those would be the ones that you would buy by the pound in the store. The others will feed all the way down to the end, where they eventually get put into bags. And hi Ricky, how are you? Ricky is my nephew, and he's a big cameraman. He loves anything to do with cameras, whatever his degree is.
Should have brought me.
Yeah, he definitely knows cameras.
So they find their way all the way down to the end.
Yeah, they find their only way down to the end, where they're put into bags and then put into boxes. The boxes are fed down the line and to the back corner into the back room, where there is a skid filler, where literally takes the boxes, stacks them by machine onto skids.
So these apples, they go all over the country. They're stacked up. How many can you? What's an average day of processing in this plant, and what's a great day?
Yeah, so an average day would be 4,000. A really good day, an average shift would be about 4,000, which is like an 8-hour shift would be about 4,000 cases.
Okay.
A really good shift would be up to 5,000.
How many apples are in a case?
On average, about 100.
Okay, so 400,000. Wait, that 4,000 times 100 is 400,000.
Yeah, so
400,000 apples
in a full day. So let's say 9,000 cases.
Wow.
9,000 times 100. Yeah.
Oh, wow, 900,000 apples in this place process. And it's funny because on the plus side, we found a moment to have a chat where it wasn't so incredibly noisy.
Yeah.
But we do miss the hub and the action that was going on not 10 minutes ago with all the staff who are now changing shift because we're at the end of day shift into night. But we'll get some B-roll and make sure that everyone can see that. This is the efficiency here is what strikes you, the modern tech, the fact that these apples, they come whisking down these lines, and they are promptly stacked up and ready to be shipped all over the country. So thank you for this walkthrough. It's really interesting.
Yeah, so yes, efficiency is what we're constantly striving for. Obviously, the whole thing is to try to produce or to put an apple out there it's as economic as possible. Obviously, equipment like this doesn't just happen. It's expensive, but that's the goal, is to try to be as efficient as possible, and hopefully, by seeing this, people get an idea of how their apples get from the tree to the shelf on their store. I realize a lot of people don't necessarily think about that, and it's understandable. I mean, what's out of sight is out of mind often, but
today we've had the whole gambit today, right?
Yeah,
because today we've literally seen people picking these off the tree with their hand.
Yeah.
We've seen where they're kept in temporary storage and preserved, and now we've seen where they come to the packing plant and how they get out to us in the stores and groceries. But I wanted to ask one more thing. We've talked today about grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 apples. What changes depending on the grade? Do you get a better price for the prime apples? Do the second tier apples go to a different place? Just briefly give us a run through on how that works.
So the part of the whole vertical integration of our industry that I haven't showed you yet, and we won't see today because it's hard to get into there, because it's a processing facility where the where the safety standards are very, very tough to get into. We don't normally. We have a policy that nobody goes in there unless they have to be in there.
Okay, so we can't go in there.
And
but
so
that's
we can't
fine,
go in
that's
there,
fine.
but that is our processing facility. Hi, that is where the grade outs go and get made into things like cider, applesauce, apple chips, and other products like that. Fresh apple slices for bakeries are another thing that we do.
So they still get used, they just get used as a different product.
That's
and
right.
we are going to finish up by having a look in the store, right?
Yes, we're going to see some of those products over there.
Fantastic. So Steve, we're about to go in and find out what these apples turn into, these wonderful products that you have here. But quickly, some history about the significance of this particular spot for the family.
So this is where I grew up with my 7 brothers and sisters in the house there.
Wow.
And it is the house that my great-grandfather built, and then my grandfather took this farm over in the 30s. My dad took it over in the 60s. Dad planted his first apple trees here in 1970 at the encouragement of a former, what is then Yugoslavia, exchange student who convinced him it was a good idea to grow apples, and I guess the rest is history.
Oh my goodness.
Literally the first apple trees would have been planted over where those trees are. There now. Now they're not there anymore. They would have looked more like these trees out front, okay, in size and so on. Since then,
So all of this started because a Yugoslavian exchange student who knew about the soil
potential
and
of apples, yeah, whatever.
said you should try and grow some apples.
Yeah, really.
And now that's all you grow.
That's more or less how it
Okay,
started.
let's get inside and see some of these wonderful
Before that,
apple
we
products.
grew pigs.
You grew pigs and then you grew apples.
We decided, at a certain point in our history, we had to make a decision which way to go, and it was unanimous. Us boys all decided we'd rather grow apples.
I think that young Yugoslavian's got a lot to answer for in a good way.
Yeah, and he's been back after he retired. About 10 years ago, he came back with his wife and visited and saw some of what he created. So that was
Here
pretty
we
neat.
are, folks.
Yeah, we've kept
Look
in
at
contact
this.
with them.
Crispy apple chips. We've got apple smash, and
Yeah.
so everything in this store. Look at all your Martin's branded apple, some new products. So
so
everything
it's
in this
basically,
store.
we call it an apple boutique store. It's more or less our products, applesauce, apple chips, even the maple syrup comes from our farm. Honey comes from the bees that pollinate it on our farm.
But it wasn't always just your products, right?
No, at one point we had a full line of Ontario fruits and vegetables, but we've cut back on that to just basically apple products, mainly because we just did not have the room to do the whole fruit and veg thing and just decided that we'll cut back to just our products. We do carry things like baked goods that are made by some of our customers who buy our apples and turn them into all kinds of delicious things and so on.
I think the thing here is just it shows all the different wonderful food products. I hate even saying products because it doesn't sound delicious, but like food products that you can make. So we're not talking just applesauce and apples here. We're talking pies, working with local partners who use your apples.
Boy, they
we're
smell
talking
good right now,
apple
don't
blossom honey. We're talking apple cider. We're talking apple jelly. I mean, it is something, and you've got your
all
homage to your,
brought to you by that's
Martin's.
a friend of ours made that replica. It's totally out of wood. Okay, it's pretty neat. It's hard to believe it's all wood, but except for the tires, it is.
Wow, this is fantastic. And over here you've got the walk-in fridge with all the cider and some more applesauce.
Yeah. So we have some apples out here, but you can buy by the pound. But the main ones are back in the fridge, so they stay cold until you're ready to take them home.
So here we have it, folks. You go from the orchards, hand-picked apples, to the whole storage, to packing, to distribution, to your own boutique store, ships your apples, your products nationwide, and all of this from 1971 and a couple hundred bushels or a couple hundred apple trees to see if it would work.
Yeah.
And nothing happens overnight, but my goodness, does it happen.
Yeah, and we've been very fortunate, and we've had a lot of good employees, wonderful customers down through the very loyal customers that have, stayed with us both on the corporate side and on the retail side. That have stayed with us for many years and supported us and
help the business grow.
We're just very lucky to be in this community. We are very privileged, and I recognize that. And our hope is that we can share a little bit of this great taste with people right across Ontario and even Canada.
Well, folks, if you see Martins, it's a stamp of quality. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've enjoyed learning about how all things Apple end up in your stomach in this country. And I think now I'm off to buy some of this lovely product and take some home. So thank you very much. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.